Well, I had never heard of shallow water blackout before our son died, and he had gotten interested in spearfishing. The whole goal was for them to be able to try and spearfish for the longest period of time. Our son was the sort of young man that when he got focused on something, he'd hyper-focus on it, and he'd try to be the very best he could. When I walked out there, and the first thing I saw was Whitner on the bottom of the pool, and it's like our brains can't sort of take all that in. When I first saw him, I thought, well, I found Whitner. He's practicing breath holding, and then I, tried to stir him, and then realized I couldn't, and then I jumped in with all my clothes on to try to pull him up. I couldn't physically get him up at all. So that's when I came in the house and called 911 and then called my daughter to come back.
People don't know this, but shallow water blackout is a huge problem that kills many healthy individuals. When these people die, water enters their lungs, and the coroners say they died due to drowning. The physiology is pretty complex, and it's a combination of blowing off your carbon dioxide, which is the trigger mechanism to breathe, and then using up all your oxygen so that you cannot support consciousness, and so you black out.
If a lifeguard was supervising a pool, I think the only way they'd probably end up detecting it is that they'd realize the person had been underwater too long, because basically then there's just no movement. It's very quiet. There's nothing visually to observe until finally they just start to drift over and sink to the bottom of the pool.
The three criteria for shallow water blackout are breath holding that is competitive, either against the clock, against yourself, or against someone else. It's repetitive. And then finally, over-breathing. Over-breathing, either hyperventilating on your own voluntarily or through strenuous exercise where you're over-breathing.
It's not, like I say, just the elite athlete. It's anyone who breath holds underwater. It can happen.
Drowning is so difficult to detect. It's a very quick, silent, subtle process that really lasts about 2 minutes. And oftentimes parents and lifeguards simultaneously will watch children drown. So they see the child drowning, but they're thinking the child is playing in the water. And that's why swimming pools really have to be very, very vigilant, not only well guarded, but well managed and well signed.
I think the signage makes people wonder, well, why can't I breath hold? And then they'll start to understand, through the education about how dangerous it is. I would have never dreamed in a million years that Whitner would have gone out into our backyard and killed himself, basically, in our pool. And with no intention at all. He loved life. And believe me, he would not have done that if he thought he was going to die.